Tower Defense Simulator is a tower defense game. Place the tower, watch it kill the enemy, and now you're somehow addicted. I honestly don't get how people like this game genre, because most of the time you're just sitting there doing nothing. The towers, however, are what make these games fun, I guess. Some towers have cool ideas, others just sit there and shoot, and that's it. There's a total of 44 towers in TDS, and as you saw at the title of the video, I ranked all 44 towers in Tower Defense Simulator. However, I'm not ranking towers based off of how strong they are, or, whatever the hell these words mean. No, I'm ranking them based off of how much fun they are to use, because let's be honest, we already know who the best and worst towers are when it comes to strength, alright? Lastly is that I am missing some event towers, so they will be ranked a bit lower, simply because I don't have a fair way to rank them, and I will not be including golden towers or admin exclusive towers. So thank you for these YouTubers for providing footage that I was not able to obtain, and without further ado, let's just get right into it. Alright, here we are, number 44, we got Hunter, and this is literally just a more boring version of Sniper, because, as if Sniper wasn't already boring enough. I think Cliff Towers are more cool simply because there's less of them, and they're, more unique. And Hunter, it's just a ground sniper, like, it's not really that interesting. I know they recently buffed him, but, I'm not going based off of how good they are, I'm going based off of how much fun they are to use, and this guy is just a more boring version of Sniper. I like Sniper more, and yeah, that's really it. Speaking of Sniper, here he is, and he's basically just Hunter but goes on top of Cliff, so I think he's cooler solely because of the whole Cliff thing. Otherwise, he's the exact same thing. He's really boring to use, too slow, and as you see, we're steamrolling, so not fun. That's all I gotta say. I can't tell if I'm gonna get hate for this, but I think Farm is really boring. I think Cowboy is way cooler because when it comes to money producers, I think they are very useful. Well, obviously they're very useful, but Farm, you kind of just sit there and you level it up. It doesn't really do anything, and let's be honest, farming is probably the most boring part of any tower defense game. So it's Farm, all right. It does nothing. It's so boring, and that's really all I gotta say about it. And next up, we have Demo Man, and be honest with me, when was the last time you used this guy? Oh my god, nobody uses Demo Man, alright. He's cool, I like explosive towers, but he's easily the weakest of all of them in terms of both how much fun and, in strength, obviously. And I don't know why I keep going over strength, because I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but let's be honest. Literally nobody uses Demo Man, and the only reason why you would use it is for the Team Fortress 2 skin, but otherwise, why? And next up we got the starting tower of the game, Scout, and no, I'm not using the golden buff here, I'm only using the golden skin, I don't have the buff on. Anyways, this guy, he's just your average starter tower, alright, and he's alright, and he's pretty fun to use, I guess, if you just spam a bunch of them and just, watch him mow through the beginning zombies and then get absolutely destroyed by like a normal boss or something, but he's cool. I think he's better than Demo Man, like in terms of enjoyability, mainly because he's the first tower that you get, and yeah, I know you get Demo Man for free with the tutorial now, but I think I like Scout more. Guess who's back? Back again. Paintballer's back, and he's, still not as good. Yes, I know, they did buff him, but he is, I guess he's boring to play as a joke. Most people now, we just use him as a joke, alright? We never take this guy seriously, alright? He's the most outdated tower ever. Yes, I know they did buff him, and he is actually pretty good now, but that won't hide the fact that he is probably the most, memed on tower in the game, and the most least used tower in the game, so sucks to be Paintballer, I guess. Next tower, I bet you only ever use this tower solely for their ability. We have Medic, and let's be honest, this tower literally does, no damage. She's absolutely horrible at doing that stuff. Look at this. She's struggling so much, and it's only wave 3 on easy mode, I think. I forgot what game mode I was playing, but, the only reason why you would use Medic is for the healing ability, and that's really it, and really the healing ability is kind of lame to use. I don't know what it is about Medic, alright? I don't think she's... I just don't... She's boring, I guess. You only ever use her for max. I barely ever see people use her besides, hardcore mode and stuff like that, but yeah, I don't really like Medic. Before you ask, no, I'm not using the golden buff, and here we have Soldier, and in my opinion, Soldier is just your average gunner. All you do is place him down, and he does what it says. It's like, you place it down, and it does what it says on the box. It just shoots the guys with burst, and that's really it. He's just lame, I guess. I don't know. He really has nothing that special about him. He's just a guy with a gun, and that's really it. And I think the burst attacks are pretty boring, so yeah. I don't really like Soldier that much. If I was ranking this tower 4 years ago, he'd be like really high, but we have Militant, and this is basically the same thing as Soldier, but you know, looks cooler and has better skins, John. And yeah, he's really the exact same thing as Soldier, just looks cooler. That's really it, and it's more fun to use because he's slightly stronger, so cool, I guess. Another tower that like not that many people use and just, you know, isn't really that great, we have a Rocketeer, and he's just the most boring of all the explosive towers. While he's not as bad as Demo Man, because, you know, there's actually some, like, level here, he's probably the most boring of all the explosive towers, you know, as I just said. So, not my favorite, but he is pretty cool, and I like the idea. I just wish, you know, he was a little bit better and, you know, was more fun to use, because I think he's just too slow. I think that's what it is. Yeah, he's too slow. And now we have our first event tower in Toxic Gunner, and he's basically like Soldier. Again, we have another tower that's very similar to Soldier with like the whole burst damage and just, you know, with the regular rifle. But, you know, oh, he's different. He has toxic damage and he slows down enemies, and, you know, he what else, yeah. See, I'm having trouble trying to say what else, like, different is about him, but, like, there's literally nothing besides the whole toxic part, so, yeah, I don't really have anything to say. And now we have the first event tower that I don't own. We have Slasher, and he is probably the most boring melee tower, simply because there isn't really anything interesting about him. Sure, he's the only one with like some sort of ranged attack, but like that's really it. He's just like, you know, he's a guy, like I said in my event video, it's just guy with a knife, and that's it. Yeah, sure, he can throw his knife, but like that's it. There's nothing else. He's just boring, that's it. That's it. Anyways, next up we have Swarmer, and in my opinion, he kind of fell off. Sure, the whole bee thing is something that we haven't really seen that much in any tower defense game. Well, not any I can think of. I can't think of any game that has had like what Swarmer does. Damn, I just stuttered so much. Holy shit. But yeah, Swarmer is more like a funny tower. I don't think he has that many things interesting about him. But yeah, that's really all I gotta say about Swarmer. And also, I'm a little bit salty because this is the one event that I played, but I didn't know Swarmer existed. So sure, call that bias, but I really don't care. And next up we have Electroshocker, and in my opinion this is the most boring of all the the Pierce towers, or like the AoE towers, or you know, whatever the fuck that means. I still don't know what any of this means, alright. But I think he's the most boring out of all of them. I don't really think he has that anything unique about him besides like the whole flying detection thing, but like that's really it. And the stunning is alright, not the best. I think there are better stunning towers out there. But yeah, I think one of the more boring stunning towers and piercing towers, and yeah, that's really it. And I got a Skippity Toilet skin, so you can't really go wrong with that. So not bad, but also not that good. Ooh, you know him, you love him. We got Accelerator, and I'm gonna be honest with you, this guy gets boring really fast after you've been using him for so long, like I have. That's why I use towers like Engineer more, simply because I don't really like Accelerator that much. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like this list is really biased, knowing that I put Accelerator really low, simply because I think he's really boring to use. He's just a guy with a laser, and sure, he's really strong, but like he's pretty boring. Like there's nothing really there. It's just guy with the laser. I think he has one of the best designs in the game. Don't like hands down, he's one of the best looking towers in the game. But like he's really boring to use, and that's really all I gotta say about Accelerator. So sorry, I guess. I don't know. Is it fair putting DJ Booth above Accelerator? I honestly don't know, but let's be honest, the only reason why we like using DJ Booth is because of the music, man. He's just so much fun to use because of the music, and he's really useful as well, and overall, we all like DJ. He's fun to use. That's it. That's all I gotta say, alright? I'm gonna lose subscribers for putting this guy higher. Then accelerator, yeah, probably. I don't fucking care. These are towers that I actually like using. They're just ranked simply because they're not as good as the other ones. So the first one we have here is Shotgunner, and he's one of my favorite towers when it comes to piercing. I think it's really satisfying with this pump shotgun. I don't know what it is. This guy is just a really satisfying tower to use, and that's why he's here. And this tower would be a lot lower if it wasn't reworked, but we have Freezer, and I actually really like the new Freezer. I like how it's more like a burst and, you know, focuses on a little bit more damage along with, you know, its freezing. And its new grenade ability is pretty nice to use. I think this gave Freezer more, like, you can do more things with Freezer now. The only issue is that it's still Freezer, so you're not really going to use it that much, so that's why it's not really the best, but also not really the worst. Freezer's not bad. And now we got another freezing tower in Frost Blaster. And I know there's only like one Frost Blaster on screen right now, but listen, I couldn't really find any other Frost Blaster gameplay, so I'm just using this one from Soul, so thanks. Anyways, this new Frost Blaster is pretty cool to use. I like how they gave him more of a pierce and DPS rather than, you know, just doing a little bit more damage than Freezer. So at least they made Frost Blaster somewhat different, and you know, the freezing is I'm not sure if the freezing is worse, but I don't know. But otherwise, Frost Blaster is basically the same thing as Freezer, but without the grenade ability, but he is a bit stronger. And I like the Pierce. I think the Pierce is more satisfying. I really like Pierce towers, but otherwise, I think Frost Blaster is pretty good. And next up, we have the last freezing tower. I don't know why I put all the freezing towers next to each other, but we have Cryomancer. And I personally do like Cryomancer. However, she's the only freezing tower that doesn't deal any damage at level 0. And the tick damage is just alright. I do think if you're using a tower with like a similar like way of damaging like Cryo, just use Pyro, because Pyromancer is a lot stronger, and the ice, you know, it's not as good as fire. So yeah, but otherwise Cryo is alright to use. I prefer using Pyro over Cryo, but they could both be interchanged. I think Cryo is better, Pyro is better, my bad. And yeah, that's it. And next up we have my second favorite explosive tower in the game, in Commando. And I actually really like the idea of Commando, except that he kind of sucks and nobody uses him, so that's why he's not ranked as high. But overall, I think we have a good idea here. I just think, you know, he needs to be like worked a little bit. And come on, man, where's the long-awaited Commando rework? We really need this. And this is also the one tower that hasn't been obtainable for a very long time, and I don't really know why, but otherwise Commando isn't that bad, but I feel like if he got reworked, he'd be a lot higher, but otherwise he sits here. Next up, we got a tower that I kind of rank similarly to Shotgunner, and it's really fun because of its like piercing mechanic. We have Archer, and personally, it looks really fun to use. I think the pierce is really satisfying. I just saw him piercing through those breakers right there. That was really nice. But Archer does kind of fall off, and in my opinion, it just kind of exists now, and you know, not really that much fun to use because, you know, it's not that strong, and overall he's just not really that fun to use, and that's where he's going to set. However, I do think he's a lot better than all the other ones. And next up we have Turret, and really the thing about Turret is that he's pretty slow. Yes, I get it, it's supposed to be a slow firing with high damage, but otherwise that's kind of it. He's just really slow to use, and also not to mention that he is fucking expensive. I don't know why they made Turret so expensive, but yeah, I don't really like Turret that much. I think he's one of the most like standard towers in this game, but he isn't that bad. I like him. And next up we have Pyromancer, and I don't really have much to say about Pyromancer. I just think he's a pretty fun tower to use. I don't know, I just like seeing the zombies burn or some shit. I don't know, I just like the fire, I guess. I don't know what to say about Pyro, but I just like using him. That's it. Next up, we got a very iconic tower, Minigunner, and he's the most basic of DPS towers you can get in this game. It's a guy with a big gun. That's it. Really, the only reason why he's pretty high is because you can't spam them, and it is pretty satisfying when they all shoot like at the same time. But otherwise, Minigunner is just kind of there and is alright, but I like him. And next up, we have Commander, the face of Tower Defense Simulator, and he's pretty fun to use. He's a support tower, so he doesn't really do anything early until you get called to arms. And also the APCs. I do like the addition of the APCs. It makes Commander a lot more fun to use. Trust me, if he did not get reworked, he would be a lot lower on this list. But I think the rework definitely helped him out a lot, and now he's higher. So hooray for Commander, I guess. And next up, we have Trapper, and I kind of have the same feeling about Trapper when it comes to farm, where you kind of just sit there and it's really slow and doesn't really do its thing that much. Well, not really farm. What else? I don't know who else I said earlier, but he is really slow to use, but he is very powerful. And personally, I think he's pretty fun to use. I think it's really cool when the zombies just come over on all the the traps that he placed all the way in the back, like that they've been grinding for like a really long time. But Trapper is a very great tower, and I like using him. Cool. And now we got Demo Man, but 10 times more fun to use. Jester, and mainly because of the variety of bombs you have. You have fire, ice, poison, and confusion, all doing their own thing. Fire doing more damage, ice freezing, slowing them down, toxic having an AoE effect, and confusion, confusing the zombies to walk backwards for a few seconds. I think this is an amazing concept, and I really like how you can pick and choose how you want to use this tower, so good job, Jester. And now we got the first vehicle tower on here, Ace Pilot, and I really like the rework they did here. Ace Pilot became 10 times more fun to use, and in my opinion, it is fantastic. The bombs are really satisfying. It's really satisfying how it flies around. You can change its direction. It can fly in different paths. You got the default one, you got the figure 8, and I forgot the other one. I think it's wait, no, there are only two. It's the default one and figure 8. I don't know why I was second guessing myself. I don't know why. I thought there was more to Ace Pilot, but yeah, I like Ace Pilot, so much fun to use. And now we got an improved version of Ace Pilot, Pursuit. And I really like Pursuit. I think it's a lot more satisfying to use. However, I'm not really a huge fan of how its targeting works, because as you know, if the zombies get past it, it does not move over to the zombies in the front. It just stays there until all the zombies in this area are gone, or can just move in, and you know how Ace Pilot works. It's a bit annoying, but not too bad, and I think, I don't know, Ace Pilot's just a lot more fun to use, so yeah. And next up, we have Cowboy, and this is a lot better than Farm, trust me. I like the concept. I think he's really fun to use, and the revolver flip, dude, the flip that he does with his revolver, oh my god, it's so satisfying. Yeah, I like Cowboy. And next up, we got the last freezing, well, we got the highest freezing tower. We have Sledger, and I actually really like this tower. It's a pretty solid tower when it comes to freezing, and it's also a pretty solid tower when it comes to melee damage. I think Sledger can reach some very high. She's not that bad, or he's not that bad. I don't know why I said she, but I don't even know why I'm giving the tower genders, but whatever. Fun tower to use. That's all I gotta say. I almost just said she again. And now we got my favorite DPS tower in the game, Engineer. And it is very obvious, she is the most unique DPS tower. She has, her basic rebar launcher, but then after she gets enough metal, or scraps, or whatever the hell she calls it, you can build a sentry, and the sentries are what do most of the DPS, and overall, this tower is so much fun to use. I really like Sledger, and it's also pretty unique. I don't think Tower Battles had it. I don't think Tower Battles had a thing similar to this. I might have to look it up. But yeah, Engineer is really fun to use. She's my favorite DPS tower. She's my favorite one to use. Not like that, but she's good. And now we got the highest rated hardcore tower, Brawler. No, I'm not counting Necromancer as a hardcore tower. He is an event tower. He does not count as a hardcore tower. I don't know why people do that. He does not count. I don't care. So, Brawler. Very, very cool. I have been waiting a really long time for TDS to add some sort of melee tower that uses its fists, and Brawler was exactly what we got, and I really like how he works. While I do think the attack combo is a bit OP, it's a bit too strong overall, he's a lot of fun to use, and I really like his reposition ability, literally El Primo, and yeah, I like Brawler alright. Alright, moving on to the top 10. First one we got here is Executioner, and this is the most satisfying Pierce Tower in the game. Yep, that's right, I said it. This is the most satisfying one in the game. The axe throw, like the boomerang thing, it's like whatever the hell Executioner does, dude. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's simply perfect, or whatever, the guy says for that one meme. But, yeah, I really like Executioner. Great tower, nice one. And moving on, we got Gladiator. And I really like Gladiator. Ever since I first bought it like a year ago from the 4th of July sale, I used it a lot, but now I don't really use it that much simply because it's not as good. When something isn't as good, it's not really that fun to use. But Gladiator probably has one of my favorite designs of all time, and he's a lot of fun to use when you max him out, but maxing him out is a bit annoying, because I don't really know how to farm that well, I'll be completely honest, but yeah, Gladiator is fantastic. I really like Gladiator. And here we have my absolute favorite explosive tower in the game, Mortar. I don't know what it is. I think Mortar is so much fun to use. Even though you can only place 4 of them, I don't know what it is. It's just a really satisfying tower. And they recently changed how its explosives looks, as you see right here. The explosives look a bit different. But, dude, I love Mortar. If you didn't see my 1000 wins video, then I don't really blame you. But I said that if I ever got a content creator skin, I would make it for Mortar. And yep, I still stand by that. If I ever got a content creator skin, I would make it Mortar, because I love Mortar easily. But I don't think it's that fun to use. Also, it doesn't have hidden detection, so it does kind of fall off. So yeah, but Mortar is so great. I love Mortar. And here we have my favorite melee tower in the game, Warden. I don't know what it is about Warden. It is so satisfying every time he stuns, and I think Warden looks just really cool in general. All the Warden skins look really nice. Except for Galactic Warden. I do not like Galactic Warden. And I don't know what it is, but every time he hits that 3rd critical hit and he just does so much damage, it is so satisfying, dude. I absolutely love the idea behind Warden. Well, obviously it's not really a unique idea because tower battles. But yeah, I really like Warden. He's a really fun melee tower. I think he's more fun than all the other ones. And yeah, that's really all I gotta say about Warden. I love this guy. And here we have my favorite cliff tower in the game, Ranger. And he is just he's just like Warden, hitting a heavy damage, and it's so satisfying. Yes, he is very slow, but I think he's one of the best looking towers in the game, except for the default. I'm not really a big fan of the new default Ranger, but overall, I really like Ranger. I think everything about him is great. Such a fun tower to use, and also my favorite cliff tower. So yeah, and he has the best skins, and I love Ranger. That's it. Ooh, we got our first unit tower here, Elf Camp. Now, yes, I may have ranked Elf Camp a little bit too low. I do think I should have ranked it a bit better. But I have an excuse. I don't own Elf Camp. And also, I think the other unit towers are a lot more fun to use. I don't know. One thing you gotta know is that all the other unit towers have some sort of ability that makes them stand out. In Elf Camp, mainly it's just all the other elves, and that's kind of it. While towers like Necromancer, who is similar to Elf Camp, who has other units, Necromancer also attacks, so I think that's why I put Necromancer higher than Elf Camp, and that's why Elf Camp is lower, because everything like the military base airstrikes and stuff like that. So that's why Elf Camp is below that, and mercenary bases with the supply drops or airdrops, or whatever the fuck they're called. But yeah, that's where Elf Camp is. Alright, so Necromancer. I really like Necromancer. I don't know what it is. Ever since they buffed him, I have been sleeping on him. But every time I do use Necromancer, oh my gosh, he is so much fun to play, and he's really good too. I really like the Necromancer, alright. Sure, it is really only good on max level, and max level is pretty expensive. But otherwise, if you just ignore the whole pricing thing, Necromancer is a fantastic tower. Now, yes, sure, It is a gem tower. I don't know why they made Necromancer a gem tower out of like all the event towers. It is still technically an event tower, but you were able to buy it with gems, which is kind of weird. But overall, dude, I love Necromancer. I think the skeletons look really cool. The skin's really nice. It looks cool on max level, not really on the lower levels. And overall, Necromancer is a fantastic tower. Yeah, if you can't tell, I put all the unit towers at the top because they're the most fun to use. But we got Mercenary Base, and this one is simply the most fun because of you having like choices on what you can do. You could use riflemen, grenadiers, field medics, or riders. Obviously, riders are the best ones. But I like the choices. The upgrades are really cool. It's the second tower in the game to have a level 6. The airdrop is really cool, and overall, Mercenary Base is a very fun tower to use. Great. And next up, we got Military Base, my favorite unit tower in the game. Almost. We're not quite there yet. But Military Base has very, very cool things about it. First of all, are the tanks. They look cool. The railgun tank looks cool. And I honestly don't really know why they did it, but they added fucking airstrikes. Like, what? We didn't really need that. I thought it was just gonna be like, you know, bigger and better tanks, but nope. We got fucking airstrikes. All right, cool. All right, I love Military Base. Right, so if it wasn't obvious, my favorite tower to use in the entirety of Tower Defense Simulator is obviously the Crook Boss. First of all, the units you could pile up is absolutely insane. As you see, a bunch of them are just getting run over right now by the Horde, but that's the thing. You can stack up a bunch of them just for them to deal a lot of damage and then just get, you know, run over by like a tank or some shit. But dude, why is Crook Boss so much fun to use? I don't understand. But yeah, in my opinion, Crook Boss is my #1 favorite tower to use in all of Tower Defense Simulator. I use it all the time whenever I play. Sure, it's not the strongest, but it is my favorite in terms of gameplay. Also, a shout outs to Corso, leader of the Blue Head Mafia, WW Skin. The WW everything. You're a cool person. And yeah, that's really all I gotta say. Crook Boss is my favorite. Well, look where we are right now. PvP testing it ends in 27 minutes. I did not play it at all. I'm gonna be completely honest, I have not played any of the PvP testings. Anyway, thank you for listening to my horrible ideas for the 3rd time. I know this was a bit different because I did a towers tier list based off of my like overall opinion on how much fun they already use and not like their strengths, which I bet you were most likely expecting. Am I gonna do one based off of strengths, like a tier list? No, I'm not gonna do one. That is too boring, and literally everybody knows who the best and the worst are, so there's no point. Next video I do is going to be a little bit different. It is going to take some time to actually do. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers, so if we can get there, I will be forever grateful. And yeah, that's really all I gotta say. I don't have Kaswasi Kick equipped. Hang on, where is it? There it is. Give me that. Alright, yep, thank you for watching or something. Yeah, subscribe. Yeah, alright, Russian Kaswasi Kick because I can. Alright, bye!